Today, you guys, I'm sharing with you the very easiest of Easter recipes. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Kira if you are new, and in today's video I have super easy Easter recipes to share. So if you're planning a last minute get together and you're looking for something super easy that you can pull together last minute, I got you covered. So I am super excited. A lot of these recipes came from Pinterest, so I'll make sure to link them in the description box so you can kind of see where my inspiration came from. I always switch things up just a little bit, but I think what I was able to pull together, you guys are going to really love. Something else that I think you guys will really love is this video is in collab with my friend Tiffany over at Small Town 6. Tiffany and I have collabed before, and I know that you guys will absolutely love her if you have not checked out her channel, because she shares a lot of similar content that I do, but she shares a lot more food recipes and what's for dinner videos in the style that are most common on YouTube that I feel everybody loves. And I feel like when everybody goes to her channel, they absolutely love her. So I would love for you guys to go over and see what she's sharing in her kitchen. I know that she wanted to bring to the table just some regular dinner ideas, just in case you guys were not in the mood for Easter ideas. Maybe you're not hosting or you don't celebrate Easter. This way you still had some other content that you could take away from today's video. So I know that she has really delicious dinners that she's going to bring to you guys that may help you out of your meal rut if you're looking for some inspiration. So I will leave all of her information in the description box along with those Pinterest links. So go over, check her out, send her some love, put in the description box a unicorn emoji so she knows that I sent you. And with that, you guys, with no further ado, let's go down to the counter and I will share with you what I've cooked up that I think you guys will love that is all Easter inspired. So the first recipe that we're starting off with is definitely a crowd pleaser. We're making essentially a cheese ball kind of dip, but in the shape of a carrot. It is so cute. So I have some cheddar cheese here. It's a block. We're going to go ahead and shred it the way that we need to use it when it's time. I have an 8-ounce block of cream cheese here. I have some sour cream. I also have a Knorr vegetable soup mix packet. You guys can use any dip mix packet that you have that's your favorite flavor. I just thought the vegetable would suit us well. And then I have some fresh flat leaf parsley here. That's our key ingredient to kind of make the top of this cheese ball dip carrot actually look like a carrot. So in a bowl, you're going to add your cream cheese, your sour cream, which is a cup of, and then your dip mix, and you're going to mix that all together. And then you're going to put it on a piece of parchment paper. I feel like I probably should have put this in the fridge first to firm it up to make it a little bit easier to form, but I didn't. I tried my best and I continued to roll it in a circular motion, and then I twisted at the bottom to almost give it a point. And then I got out a nice white presenting platter. Then I opened up that rolled up parchment paper and I flipped onto the platter our little log that looked and resembled a carrot. I took a hand shredder and shredded some cheddar cheese. And then now we're just going to take the cheese shreds and we're going to go all around and stick it to our dip mix so that none of the dip is showing and all you can kind of see is the cheese. And at that point, I was really able to form it like a carrot, wider up top and then at the bottom to a point. And then I stuck that flat leaf parsley up top to create the illusion of a carrot. I then grabbed some bagel chips. I had these little everything Parmesan crisps that Vanessa gave me that worked perfect for this dip. I put a little bit of cherry tomatoes. I could have done broccoli or carrots, but this looked so cute presented on a platter. I think this would look great on your Easter table, and this took no time at all. And everybody just loved it. The cheese mixed really well with the dip mix and made a nice hearty appetizer. I think now we'll switch from appetizers and we'll transition into a dessert. So this is a super easy one. Like I said, all these recipes are just a few ingredients. But when I saw something similar to this, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this for my kids because I know they're absolutely going to love it. So it is a s'mores dip that you're using Peeps. So I have 2 packages of the party cake Peeps, 1 package of the cotton candy Peeps, and then 1 of the sparkly Wildberry Peeps, all from the Dollar Tree. I have some chocolate chips here and some heavy whipping cream. That's it. And then I have like a glass pie dish. You really could use any kind of casserole dish. I just thought a pie plate would work out perfect. So in that plate, I went ahead and put 2 cups of chocolate chips. And then on top of that, you're going to add a half a cup of heavy whipping cream. What's that's going to do when they all melt together is it's going to make a very creamy, more like a ganache for you to dunk your graham cracker pieces in, which is what we're going to use. And then I went ahead and positioned the Peeps all on top of those chocolate chips. So I used the cotton candy ones and the party cake ones, and I alternated back and forth. And then I stuck the little wild berry Peeps bunnies around the center. It was the best presentation that I can do with what I was working with, but I knew that it was going to puff up and cook up exactly how I thought. So I put it in a 400-degree oven for like 7 minutes. That's it. And it caramelized and all the Peeps got brown and crispy and toasty, just like marshmallows would in s'mores. And then I broke up some graham crackers, and you just use the little graham cracker pieces to dunk inside of this dip. And that heavy cream made those chocolate chips so creamy and so rich and so delicious. And just the crisp of that marshmallow right on top. My kids were bonkers for this, and I know your kids will too. So definitely give that one a try. And then now, you guys, we're talking simple trail mix. If you guys have seen my lunch video already, then you've already seen me compile this trail mix together, but you can do this with anything, whatever your heart desires that you can pull together. But I know that my family likes to keep it simple. So I have some popping corn here, some marshmallows, some pastel M&Ms, and then I have the Annie's bunny grams because they look like bunnies. I thought that would just make the perfect trail mix. So in a brown paper bag, we're going to pop our popcorn. So this is the easiest trick ever. If you've never tried it, 1/3 cup of popping corn in a brown paper bag. You're going to fold it. I stuck it in the microwave. I hit the popcorn button and start, and away you go. After it's done, it puffs up this fluffy, delicious popcorn. I had to steal a little bit because I am definitely a popcorn lover. We're going to add a little bit of melted butter onto the top. We're going to give it a good shake, and then that's it, you guys. Now we're going to go ahead and just dump everything in on top. So we're going to dump in the bunny grams. We're going to dump in those mini marshmallows. We're going to dump in those pastel M&Ms, and we're going to give it a good toss. And once everything was kind of all tossed together, that was it. I put some in a sandwich bag for the kids to take for lunch, and then I put some in a Tupperware container that we ate on for the rest of the week. So back to another dessert now, and I think this one was the most fun out of all the ones that I put together. So we're going to make a sugar cookie fruit pizza, perfect for dessert, and all you need is some cookie dough, some Greek vanilla yogurt, fruit of your choice, and then I did end up using some Easter sprinkles, which you guys will see. But essentially, we're going to take this cookie dough and we're going to roll it out, and we're going to cut it into an egg shape, and then we're going to use that Greek yogurt as a frosting. Now you can use regular frosting here if you prefer. I just thought the Greek yogurt would be a really nice switch, especially paired with the fruit. It would kind of keep it light after a heavy meal. But this ended up coming out so super cute, especially with those pastel sprinkles that I ended up throwing in at the end. So we're going to start off by taking the cookie dough. We're going to throw it onto this pizza pan, and I did use a little bit of cooking spray to spray my rolling pin so that it was easier for me to roll the dough out. And even at that, it was still difficult. You can see that my pizza pan's kind of crooked, so it wasn't laying super flat. I ended up using my hands and then back and forth with the rolling pin to try and get it as flat as possible. You can use your own sugar cookie dough if you would like. You just just need a giant sugar cookie to start to make this. So however you want to get to that point, you can go ahead and do that. But then you're going to cook it until package directions. And then once that it was all cooked and cooled, I just used a pizza cutter and shaped it into an egg. Well, at least the best that I could with how that it baked up. And now that it was cool, I knew it was going to be perfect for me to go ahead and throw some of the toppings on. So now with just a few heaping spoons of that yogurt, I put it on top of the cookie and I just smoothed it out on top until it looked like frosting. And I couldn't believe how much it really looked like frosting. And then I took the raspberries, the blackberries, the blueberries that I had, and I decorated it like you would just decorating a really colorful Easter egg. I had a lot of fun. This is definitely something you can get your kids involved in the kitchen. This was a surprise for them, or I would have had them come in and do this with me, but I really wanted to wow them when they got home from school with this really cool, yummy dessert. And so it was just more my creative touch, but definitely something that you guys could do, getting your kids involved and having them put their creative spin on it. I'm sure you guys could even dye frosting so that you can do the egg in different colors. I feel like the options here are endless, but how this just came out was perfect. And then I ended up just using a pizza cutter and I cut it into slices. The kids even took some slices to school, and then we just kind of, picked on the rest as after school snacks. But this would look absolutely beautiful on your Easter table. So now back to an appetizer, and let me just tell you that when I stumbled upon this recipe, my mind was blown. Have you ever heard of a fried deviled egg? Well, if you haven't, you just did now, and we're about to make one. So I have some hard-boiled eggs here in a container that I've already hard-boiled the night before. I have some flour, I have some seasoned panko breadcrumbs, I have some milk, 1 egg, and then over here is the mixture for our egg yolk. So just a tiny bit of hot sauce, some Dijon mustard, some sour cream, and some mayo. Now I'm going to tell you something, I make an evil deviled egg, but I never thought about putting sour cream into the mixture, which really gave it an extra creamy factor, and just a tiny bit of hot sauce blew my mind how delicious that was. No heat, just flavor. So let's go ahead first by cutting our deviled eggs in half, and then we're going to scoop out all of our yolk, and you're going to mash your yolks to as powdery of a consistency as you can possibly make it. And now we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of some mayo. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of sour cream, and then 1 tablespoon of the Dijon mustard and 1 teaspoon of that hot sauce. And that is it, you guys. We're going to cream them all together so that you get this really yummy, creamy mixture. And then I put that off into the fridge because it's time to prepare the bottom portion of our eggs. So I put a little bit of flour on a platter, and then I put some garlic powder, some salt, and some pepper, and I mix that all together. Next to that, I put a little bit of those seasoned breadcrumbs, and then in a ramekin, I just put 1 egg and a splash of milk and just whisked that together because that's going to be our base for our hard-boiled egg. And then in a saucepan on the stove, I stuck about 2 inches of vegetable oil and got that heated up to about 375 degrees. Now we're going to take the bottom of our hard-boiled eggs. We're going to put them in that flour mixture first. Then we're going to put them in the egg mixture. Then we're going to roll it in that seasoned breadcrumbs, and we're going to drop it into the oil. You only need about 1 to 2 minutes on each side. As soon as you start to see them brown, you flip them over, and then once they're brown on both sides, you can go ahead and remove them. Once we were all done frying them up, I arranged them on a plate, and we took our mixture that we had stored in the refrigerator, and we went ahead and topped all of our fried deviled eggs with our really delicious mixture. I added a little bit of paprika, and that was it. You guys, this was so elevated. blew my actual mind because I've only had deviled eggs cold. So to have them warm with this cool kind of filling on the top, but the warm egg that was crispy on the bottom, I felt like it was something I would have gotten at a restaurant as opposed to making it at home. 10 out of 10 for this recipe. Not really one to fry a deviled egg, but if you haven't tried it, don't knock it. This is going to be out of the park, the best thing you ever do. I promise. Now for our last recipe, we're going to put together a quote unquote dessert, but it's more like a snack or a candy. We're going to make our own Reese's Eggs. Well, at least I tried to anyways. This turned out to be a hot mess, but it did work out to a benefit. When I let everybody in the house try one yesterday, literally my husband said this is effing delicious, and I will keep that as PG as possible, but every single person who had one was like blown away by how good they were. Jake hid in the bathroom with the container of them. And you need a very, very simple ingredients. You need confectionery sugar, peanut butter, and some melting chocolate. That's it. So I'm going to start by adding a cup of peanut butter to the bowl. I did have the regular peanut butter just out in the beginning, but I did end up putting in a few scoops of the American Dream nut butter, the Santa's Magic, the one that has just a little bit of coconut in it. It really added a nice grit and substance to the Reese's egg. I added in 2 tablespoons of melted butter and a cup and a half of confectionery sugar, and then I went ahead and mixed. The recipe does say that it may be a little dry, and if it's dry, to add a tablespoon of milk, mix thoroughly, and if it's still dry, add in 1 more tablespoon of milk. Once everything was all kind of mixed together and I had this creamy, soft, consistent peanut butter, then you're going to go ahead and throw that on a piece of parchment paper. So you're going to do your best to smooth this out as much as possible. I tried to use the rolling pin, but it stuck just like that cookie dough. So I just used a spatula and I ended up using my hand so that I can make sure to get this peanut butter layer to about a 1/2 inch thick on this parchment paper. Once I had a desired consistency, I went ahead and covered that with another piece of wax paper and I stuck it in the fridge for a couple of hours to let it firm up. Once it was good and firm, I put on the stove a pot of hot water, and then I also had my melting chocolate in another container on top. That's called a double boiler. I did not use exact melting chocolate. I used some chocolate that I had around the house and it locked up, which means you can see there that it didn't really get silky and creamy. It was still yummy and flavorful, but it acted more like Play-Doh. So I used my butter knife and I improvised, and I did as much of these little peanut butter pieces as I possibly could covered in chocolate. I had a little egg cookie cutter and I cut out as many as I could. I put them back in the freezer for an hour for the chocolate to firm up, and then I pulled out some of this Ghirardelli white melting chocolate. I really prefer for you guys to use some kind of melting chocolate in this recipe because you'll see that once it's all done melting, it's going to get good and silky and shiny and creamy. And that's really what you want your chocolate to be when you're trying to coat something or make a chocolate covered pretzel or something like that. So once this sat and got hard in the refrigerator, all that chocolate firmed up, I just went ahead and used that really silky, creamy, melty white chocolate. You could definitely see the difference of using something that's meant to melt and then something that is not. Now, if something locks up like that on you, you're trying to use a Hershey's bar or something like that and you're trying to melt it, you can use shortening. I tried to use butter and that did not help. Butter does not save the chocolate like that. You need something fat like shortening. So if you have shortening in the house, you could have put it in there and it would have loosened it back up and made it shiny and creamy, but I did not have that. So we improvised and we said, okay, half will just be this locked up chocolate and then the other half will be this really creamy, white, silky Ghirardelli chocolate. And I covered as much as I could with what I had because I didn't have a whole lot. I didn't plan for it. I covered as much as I could and then stuck it back in the refrigerator to get hard. And I ended up with these really delicious medallions of peanut butter that were covered in chocolate. What I liked was the consistency of the peanut butter because it's the exact consistency of a peanut butter cup. So if you were ever wondering why the peanut butter made your mouth feel like that, it must be because they add confectionery sugar, because the combination of the peanut butter and the confectionery sugar made the consistency that we covered in chocolate. And it might have not looked the greatest. It's definitely not a Reese's egg that you're going to get in the store, but I will tell you what, it was damn good. And I guarantee you, if you try it, you will enjoy it. And if you do, make sure to come back and let me know what you think, because these were a huge hit in our house. All right, you guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. If you are new here or you came from Tiffany's channel, I hope you enjoyed today's video and you'll consider sticking around and hitting that subscribe button and joining our family here on YouTube. I have a wide variety of things that I share, and I feel like I can kind of cater to everybody's needs. So I hope you guys continue to enjoy. I love you so, so much. Please let me know if you share or cook any of these recipes. Let me know, come back in the comments, because I love to hear about it. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic Easter and a great weekend, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, you guys.